Hey, what is going on, everyone? This is Warren from the Rhapsody Piano Studio. I want to welcome you to today's live lesson. We're going to be learning Moonlight Reverie. This is from Martha Mier and the book title Romantic Impressions. This is book number 3. This is going to be for intermediate. I more or less think of it as early intermediate. Let me tell you where your technique needs to be at in order to play this. You definitely need to know how to read music. So if you're playing something like this and you haven't figured out reading it, it's kind of all out of sequence. Now, make sure you hit up the description below if you want to check some live streams on how to read music, and you also want to do a lot of my easier versions of these lessons. I have a ton of these, okay? So sheet music is going to be in the cards and description below, by the way. Also, the tutorial, once you understand the things I'm showing you here, you will be able to use the tutorial on your own. This is the study guide, and the tutorial is more like a self-test. So back to what technique you need to be at for this level. You need to be comfortable with some leaps, some jumps, nothing crazy. Definitely some experience with arpeggios. I think being able to read flats and sharps, accidentals, stuff like that. Basically, that's about it. Yes, taking a look at it, that's about it. All right, and the other stuff we could just kind of fill in as we do the lessons. But that's the very basics of the techniques you need to be at. If you've never played like a single arpeggio or anything like that, you definitely don't want to be up here. Okay, but you can make it back here if you want. All right, now, before we start, I want to, if you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, make sure you smash it and subscribe. Okay, what else would you do? Like there's something else here. And hit the notification bell, by the way, the reminder, the gear icon, whatever that thing looks like. Just make sure you catch whenever I go live. And also if you want to get notified of whenever my tutorials come out as well. Okay, so basically as we just last thing before we start, 2 concepts that I'm currently basically using to teach anything at any level with all my students as well: spaced repetition and chunking. I will talk about that as we practice. Okay, this is Moonlight Reverie. Let me show you the first chunk, the first part you should divide it into. So it's about half a page, about 1 measure for measure 1 to measure 9. So you're gonna pick that part. Now, if that's a little bit too difficult, you could go to measure 5. In fact, let's go ahead and do that. So let's go from the beginning to measure 5 only. Hey Thomas, what's going on, man? Hope you're having a lovely day so far. Let me know if you have any questions about this song we're practicing. Here's the right hand up to measure 5. Okay. And we're just going to simply try that together. All right, ready, set, go. And then back to the left hand. By the way, you notice I am simplifying it here. We're doing right hand and left hand together. As much as possible, you want to simplify it if you're having trouble, okay? It's just about saving time when you're practicing. Try it together. Ready, set, go. And back to both hands. Together now. Ready, set, go. Okay. If you haven't also noticed by now, I'm playing it for you first, so it's a lot of demonstration. So if you're having trouble with some music, and also if this is the only way you need to even understand what you're doing right is to watch one of my tutorials. Because if you don't know how it sounds like, then how do you even know if it's correct or not? Which is why I do a lot of demonstrations here too. So technically you might even want to try it once without even watching, figure it out a little bit on your own, and then go back with this lesson and then see if it's actually correct, okay? So a lot of studying, a lot of people do a lot of practicing on piano, but they don't watch as many videos, listen to a lot of music. Is super important. It might be even more important than practicing in the beginning, okay? All right, we're gonna keep it going, measures 5 to measure 9. I'll show you both hands, then we're gonna go back and do the same thing. right hand, left hand, hands separate, then back to hands together. And then if you're wondering how many times do I need to be repeating and practicing, I'm going to cover that in a second. Okay, now look in the right hand. Here is 4-2-1. Whenever you see that on top, what she's saying, or any music you get to that they have these weird, not weird, but the symbol up here, which is 4-1. They're just saying you want to switch your thumb to that note. So it goes 4-2-1. Holding it, make sure you don't play it again. Like that. Let me play it for you again. Okay, we're gonna try that together. Ready, set, go. Okay, left hand. So I think if you look at measure 7 and 8, that is a little tricky. A lot of movement to the left, moving from the right to the left. That's gonna need some practice. All right, 5-9. Ready, set, go. Oh yeah. By the way, I can reach this with a 1 and 2. Most people can, but if you can't, you can use a 3 or 4. Usually, we all have different hands and fingers, different sizes and whatnot. So you always have to adjust to what is good for your hand. Okay. So I'm just doing what comes natural for me. If it doesn't come natural for you, don't think like I have to hit that with the same exact finger that this guy is using. Not a good way to practice. We're all different here. Okay. Ready, set, go. And back to both hands. Okay, ready, set, go. Okay, now we have one part, we have the next part, about 8 measures here. So we did first 4 measures, the next 4 measures. Now we're gonna do it all together. Just simply like, building it up, like building blocks or bricks to a house, whatever. Okay, from the beginning to measure 9, let me show you both hands first. Okay, back to right hand. Okay, ready, set, go. All right, left hand. Ready, set, go. Back to both hands, listen first. Together, ready, set, go. Okay, so that in a nutshell is chunking, small chunking, okay? Just taking small parts and then building it up into bigger sections. Now, the other thing we need to talk about is spaced repetition. I didn't really give you a guideline on how many repetitions it takes because it really doesn't matter. What you want to do is just attempt it a few times, at each little complexity or simplicity, like right hand, left hand, and then hands together. And then you're gonna kind of keep track of these repetitions. It's really not that important. Because the traditional approach where you try to do it 20 times in a row perfectly is actually wrong. That works in the short term. What I'm trying to teach you here is a long-term approach. So actually, this way of practicing, you're not going to make a lot of improvement from minute to minute or even day to day. But if you practice this way, overall, you're just going to grow leaps and bounds. So in the beginning, and the day to day, it doesn't feel like there's a lot of improvement. But then one day you look back like, holy cow, like I actually got a lot better. This is called spaced repetition. So what you want to do is try it a few times, get it good enough, decent. You don't have to get it perfect. And then you just simply move on with your practice routine, whatever it is. Then later on, you're going to come back to that same section and then practice it again. So again, you space it out. So it's almost like weighting repetition if you want to think of it that way. Anyway, a lot of nuance to this approach, so you really have to look it up online. Spaced repetition, because if you want me to really explain it to you, it would take like forever, okay? But, it's like one example. We did this first part. Now we're going to do the next section. And the first section doesn't have to be perfect. Let's say we get to the last page of this, and then we decide to spend 10, 20 minutes. Okay, let's go back to that first part and practice it again. That's basically what it's all about. Or you can wait an entire day. Or you can wait a few days. When it gets good, you can start waiting a week. So the easier it is, the longer you can wait before you try it again. It's a pretty crazy way of practicing, I know. But to me, it's been the best way to practice so far. All right, now I'm just going to give you longer sections. We're going to go from 9 to 17. So we go 9 to 17, then we're going to go back and do the entire page, okay? Alright, here's just the right hand. Let me cover a few spots here. Measure 13. This thing again, where you switch your fingers. Now here, I would do this a little bit slower. It's a scale going down, but when you get to 4, you have to get ready to play next up with the 5th finger right away. And then you're also playing this note on the bottom while you're holding the top note. So there's actually a lot of stuff going on here. Let me show you very slowly. Okay, let me show you again. Okay, let me show you one more time from measure 9 now. Okay, together now. Ready, set, go. Okay, left hand. So tell you what, we're actually going to skip those entire 4 measures from 9 to 13. You can actually do the same thing with the right hand. I actually didn't do that. Kind of forgot about it. But the reason why is because it's a completely exact pattern. So anytime there's a repetition of material that is exactly the same, go ahead and skip it. I think it's a waste of time to practice it actually. So it's like, why would you? If you already got it and it keeps coming up over and over again, there's really no need. When you go back and play an entire song from the beginning to end, like if you're doing like a performance, then you can go ahead and put then you can, gosh, I lost my train of thought. You can then go ahead and, I forgot what I said. We're going to keep it going. I have no idea what you're talking about. And you spelled your name wrong, Marco. So 13 to 17. He wants me to put weight on my finger. Should I put like a little jacket on it? Is that what you're talking about? How about some like dumbbells? Idea. All right, left hand. We're just gonna take it from 13. Ready, set, go. Why? All right. Back to measure 9 now. We're just gonna try both hands. Yeah, I mean, why would I do it? How hard I press? And you don't press keys, by the way. It's not a button, man. All right, 9 to 17. Let's try it together. Ready, set, go. Okay, now we're going to go back and put the entire page together. going to play for you from the beginning to measure 17. Okay, back to the right hand. You're going to switch to guitar? Okay. Are you complaining or something? You can't play piano, you can't own one, yet you're trying to give me instructions on how to play piano. Okay. Alright, right hands from the beginning to measure 17. Ready, set, go. Alright, left hand. Okay, together, ready, set, go. ABD twits. Don't know how to say that. I don't really think about how hard I press. That's like in the beginning. Okay, so if you're like new to piano, and like a really good approach, if I have a beginning student, you just want to go down to the bottom of the key, no matter what it is you play. Like this forte, this volume stuff, like you don't really want to practice that until later on. But if you're new to piano, just to the bottom of the key. And it's not whether it's hard or, you know, like soft or whatever, just all the way to the bottom. Just reach the bottom of each key. That's the suggestion I would give. And then once you're able to do that consistently, you want to think about, you know, playing it slower to the bottom of the key and then faster to the bottom of the key. Did you know that volume just depends on how fast you play the notes, not how much pressure you put into it? Okay? I hope that answered your question. Let me know if you have more. That's a good question. Alright, both hands. I think we're doing both hands. Alright, whatever. From the beginning to measure 17. Ready, set, go. I'm going to explain why that is, why there's actually science behind that. Let me explain that in a second after we do this. Measure 1 to 17. Ready, set, go. Okay, man, you're asking some really great questions. So the reason why the bass is louder than the top is because everything up here, down here, I mean, you hear it. It's a little deeper and higher. That has to do with the size of the strings. And I'm not like a piano technician or anything like that, but I can explain this much. So we have smaller strings up here. The sound is not as strong or long, whatever you want to talk about, okay? If we go down here, the strings are longer. They're also thicker as well, so you get more sound. It also lasts longer as well. If I keep holding this, right? It's still going. If I play the highest key up here, the C, look how fast that fades. So that's exactly why the lower keys are going to be louder and the higher keys are going to be softer. It also makes it why piano's so difficult. Just because you're playing the same note, depending on what you're trying to do, you have to play every note, then every register, whatever, much differently. It's just so many different things, okay? But in general, if you're playing the lower keys and if you have something in the bass range or whatever, or the treble range, or treble clef, you want to play the left hand softer and the right hand a little bit louder. Okay? All right. Great question. All right, let's keep going. This is measure 17. Now I'm gonna give you the whole page. This is a little test. If you're actually able to do the whole entire page, appreciate that. Thanks. Let me know if you need more explanations on other stuff. I mean, I love questions like this too. This is my hobby, my passion. So if you have any other questions about piano, let me know. So I'm going to do the entire page. And by the way, if you're able to do this entire page, let's say these small sections were a piece of cake for you. If you can do like one whole page with me, that's probably a good sign that this music is a little easy for you. And you could probably do something a little bit harder if you want. Or like longer songs as well. Okay? All right. 17 and to the bottom of this page. I'm gonna play it first and then we're gonna go back and practice it. Also at the bottom of the page, measuring 29. It's gonna use a lot of pedal to actually make that legato, but this is tricky because the sixth going up. So you can also turn this into technical exercises because usually what's hard to play on piano, like consecutive thirds, fourths, anything like 2 notes at a time, right? And then like sixths. So those are a little bit tricky. Yeah, arpeggios. Yeah, definitely you're gonna want to be practicing some arpeggios. Okay, 29. Anyway, all right. So back to the top of the page, one hand at a time. Okay, together now. Ready, set, go. Yeah, by the way, the reason why I like Martha Mier so much, this type of music, in the beginning I did think it was kind of cheesy, a little corny, but it really grew on me because the music, she makes it sound a little bit harder than it actually is. Plus it's pretty tasteful as well, and it actually will definitely, I'll say definitely it'll improve your technique if you practice this. Alright, left hand now. Now something to help you play these little arpeggio-like patterns. See how I did that? I'm not really moving my arm so much. I'm kind of like, it's almost like I'm contracting my hand like this to those notes. See that? If you do too much movement, that's really, it's gonna be an ugly look and an ugly sound. Hey Charles, how are you doing today? Thanks for joining us on this live stream. I got a lot of people on here today, pretty cool. Okay, 17 from the beginning. You know what would be really cool? If you guys could tell me where you're watching this from. I would love to know that. Alright, 17, left hand together. This is the second page, ready, set, go. Wow. this is so awesome. It's like being able to teach all you guys from all around the world. You got people from Jordan, London, UK, Palestine. Man, interesting. Like all on my to go lists. It's pretty cool. All right, back to both hands. By the way, you guys is England, of course. But it's so interesting. Like all around the world, people's English is really impeccable these days. You are very welcome. Did we do that together? I feel like we did, but just in case I want to get you guys covered. Let's do that one more time before we do the last page. Ready, set, go. Okay, last page here, and I also wanted to ask you guys if you have enjoyed this video so far. I really would appreciate it if you hit that like button, and then once this live stream is over, go ahead and share this with people as well. I think they would appreciate you. I definitely would appreciate you. I hope you guys are really learning a lot from this. All right, last page here, and of course, if you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button now. All right, this is the last page. By the way, stick around for the recap. It's good to go over the concepts that we learned today. Okay, so we are actually going to skip this entire section. We're just going to practice from measure 45 till the end, because if you heard that, that's it's actually like a recap at what I was going to do at the end of the lesson, like a recapitulation, right? Anyway, it's coming back. So that's the first part. In fact, it's like the exact same as the first page, except the last part. So we're just going to practice 45 till the end first, then we're going to try this entire page, okay? Octave higher, and it keeps going. Now this measure, you gotta be careful because it's showing the left hand is now in the treble clef. This is gonna look confusing here. She wants you to hold these two for the whole value, and then you're gonna play these eighth notes, and also you're gonna hold the third, not third, the quarter note right there. So let me show you again. This is kind of tricky actually. It might not be, if you're not actually been doing exercises like this, you might not be able to do it. It's kind of hard to actually hold keys and let your fingers play and whatnot. Oh, thanks Charles. Hopefully I'll see you around sometime. Thanks for joining me today, man. Have a good day. All right. So thanks for saying bye. It's pretty cool. Nice guy. So that actually does take some practice. It's like finger independence, if you've ever heard that idea before. Anyway, here's the right hand. You just hold this the whole entire way. Now the left hand. Here it is. There's a little retardando at the end, which means to slow down gradually, but we're just going to play it straight through, okay? All right. Did we try right hand together? Let's do it right now. Ready, set, go. Okay. Left hand, ready, set, go. Nighttime, huh? Man, it's like morning over here. Well, no, it's not morning. What am I talking about? It's like 1 p.m. Okay, 1:30 p.m. You know, this live stream will be on my channel forever, man. So hopefully you can come back. You can watch it at a more convenient time. But thanks for joining me here. All right, let's try it together. 45. Both hands. Listen first. Anytime. Yeah, this is definitely one of my favorite collections to play and also to teach to my students, especially. They all love it. It's just really good music. All right, we're going to go back to the entire page now. We're just going to do both hands. I'm going to play for you first. We're going to try it together. Then I'll give you a recap at the end. And that's it for today's lesson. Okay. The reason why we're not taking that retardando is because it's also easier for you to follow along with me right now. But also, if you can't play straight through, you have no business even trying the retardando. That's like if you can get the rhythm first, then you can add all those directions later, okay? Just gotta stick to the basics, the fundamentals. All right, together, ready, set, go. Okay, so that's it for today's lesson. Let's first talk about, before you go, what level you need to be at this. This is more for like early intermediate. You need to be comfortable with some jumps, a little bit of leaping. This on guitar. You're gonna learn this on guitar? I'd like to see that. That's kind of interesting. All right, but yeah, you have to be comfortable with like leaps, a little jumps, nothing too crazy. We do have 29. Some sixths right there, 6 notes apart. That's why we call it sixths. That's pretty cool. I imagine I think this would sound really great on guitar if you think about it. So 29. That's another thing you have to practice. And also, you need to be comfortable, at least comfortable with some scales and arpeggios. Nothing like crazy, but you know, this shouldn't be your first introduction to it. Or even if it is, you can get started now. Definitely, you should be able to read music. Anything past like beginning and easy, if you're not able to read music, you should be able to read music at the easy level. If you're here, then you kind of got some work cut out for you to do. Okay. Left hand, same thing. Jumps, some little arpeggio patterns. Okay, so that's where you're gonna basically be at here, and then you know if it's a little bit difficult, you keep practicing. Maybe you just stick with this book and get used to this level. You know, the two concepts we learned today that I'm currently teaching right now. Sometimes, you know, concepts will change throughout, you know, because I'm always learning stuff. Yeah, I swear I teach differently almost every year, every month. Spaced repetition and chunking. Chunking, just take the first part, it's kind of common sense stuff, the shortest section you can manage, and then do the next shortest section and just build it up from there. For example, if you go back to the first page, we did the first 4 measures, we did the next 4 measures, then we combined that into 8 measures. Then we just did the second half of the page, which is also 8 measures. Then we did the entire page, which is 16 measures. Okay? So you build it up until you have a page, a page, a page, then you can do all 3 pages. And it does take some concentration to build it up into longer sections if you're not used to it. Sometimes it's not that it's difficult. Maybe you're just not used to doing longer and longer sections, and that's gonna take some patience for your concentration to build up. The second thing, spaced repetition. This is a bit harder to figure out. You're gonna have to use a lot of intuition, instinct. Definitely you need to look it up online because I don't have enough time to show you guys in these videos because it's such an important concept. Spaced repetition, but the general gist of it is you try it a few times now, you wait a little bit, you try it a few times later. So
If it's a little bit harder, you wait a little less in between. When it gets easier, you can wait longer and longer and longer and longer. Okay, people usually use this to memorize. I use this to memorize. I use it for everything, playing piano and also memorizing pieces. So, you know, it's kind of interesting. After a while, you can get away with, if you want to keep continuing a piece over time, like there's been some songs that I've only played maybe once a month, and then, you know, if it's good, if it's in the middle, or if it's hard, you wait appropriately, and then you try it again later. So sometimes I've had stuff memorized, and I only played it a few times a year. So I hope that blows your mind. Really helps a lot. Look that stuff online. And also, last thing, if you haven't subscribed, if you haven't liked this video, go ahead, help me out, help me help you, and that is it. Okay.
Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hope to see you guys next time, and appreciate all the love today. It was cool to get to know a bit more of my audience. Hope to see more of you guys here on these lessons. Really appreciate you guys. I'll see you guys next time. Happy practicing.